This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtual Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your virtual pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
I was deep in it, gaming on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Unfolding the screen made it twice as big and so immersive, I kinda lost myself. Might have trolled a little too close to the sun. Someone in the chat told me to touch grass, so I took my Z Fold 7 outside and kept playing. Still won, got a tan, and a nice little reset. Powerful processor, realistic graphics, you stay locked in, streak stays alive. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Phase 1 of the Rams 2025 training camp is complete. We got news and notes from what happened at camp, and we'll talk about that next on this training camp episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. Rams Nation, welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. If you're on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel, put that notification bell on. And if you're on the audio only or podcast only side of things, share this podcast and audio with all your fellow Rams fans. Any of those options helps out other Rams fans to see our content, and we very much appreciate it. But Mark, my friend, how you doing? We're full force now, baby.
Yeah, hey, it's close to football season when I got my Survivor League kicked off. I did my first fantasy football mock draft. I got our league set up. Looking at the first week schedule, which is really attractive, man. We just need to get to week 1 and get this rolling.
That's right, man. I mean, the days to week 1 against Houston are narrowing down as we speak, but, still a lot of things that need to go down and that we need to see before we get there and feel good about that opening game kickoff. So phase 1, or what Sean McVay likes to call it, block number 1 of training camp is complete. That is this first phase of non-padded practice where there are no full contact drills going on. There are no players wearing shoulder pads, thigh pads, all the full shebang. None of that is going on. So it is over. What did we learn and what news did we get out of this phase, or block 1 of this 2025 training camp? And gosh, a lot of people are out there for this phase 1, as I've had friends. Shout out to Nico from the LA Football Network, who we've had on the show. He was out there reporting, getting some good inside scoops, talking to players. Had an interview with Jordan Whittington. So check out his content, Football by Nico, LAFB on Twitter, X, all that fun stuff. And our friends from the LA Football Network in general, as they have nice stuff. So as you can see here in this picture, shout out to Kobe Turner running around with the fans, high-fiving. And I heard it was a good crowd, Mark. Pretty cool. Even though I've heard LMU might be a little tight up there in those bleachers, but it seems like everyone was pulling up and wanted to see some good Rams football, even in this non-padded phase 1, block 1.
Hey, I've been out and about the last few days, and hey, the weather is conducive to watching a training camp. It's just been beautiful out. And I bet you those fans are just really enjoying it. What better situation could you ask for? I think it was like 72 all weekend here with a little ocean breeze, really, really nice. And it's nice to see the Rams crowd. I think it's really growing. The fan base is definitely growing in greater Los Angeles, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and that's a good thing. So, for any of you Rams fans out there that are veering the youth and people that are tweening towards one team or another, keep doing your thing. Let's get more fans out there for training camp at SoFi and beyond for many years. Keep doing your thing, Rams fans. Heck yeah. So, what are some news that we learned outside of lots of good fan turnout? Well, some really good positive news. As yes, last week we heard from Sean McVay that Alaric Jackson was in a good spot, but now he was out there still doing stuff on the side. But for any walkthrough drills with the first team, he is out there again, non-contact first team drill reps he is getting. So, I mean, Mark, that's fantastic news. He looks good. Doesn't look like he's lost weight or gained any bad weight. And he's out there. There's been plenty of video. Shout out to everyone who's been taking clips, whether it be professional media, fan media, et cetera, et cetera. And they're showing, hey, Alec Jackson's out there with the first team and he's getting movement. He's not just, stuck on the sideline where they're so concerned about him. I think that's good news, Mark.
Yeah, and I wonder how they're approaching this. And we probably won't know. They'll keep that under wraps pretty much. But hey, man, if he can go week one, that would be great. But I think, even without him, I'm not as I don't feel as bad as I did about the situation when I first heard about this.
Yeah.
Sounds like DJ's fitting in pretty well, but just icing on the cake if Lyric can go.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a good spot with him right now. Now, can things pop up where it'll get worse? Hopefully not. It's a possibility, of course, but things are very, very positive. And again, like you mentioned, when we first got this news, we're like, yeah, he's missing half the season minimum, but he might be on track to play week one if the positive progress continues. So great news, Rams Nation. Alaric Jackson is out there getting some first team drill reps again for non-contact, very walkthrough stuff. He's not hitting anybody, not getting in contact with anybody, but that's better than nothing what we thought a month and whatever it was ago. So great news, Rams Nation. You should feel good about that. And we do too. But what are some other things that have been popping up that maybe not is so positive? Well, let's talk about it, Mark, as we were very, I think, split on this last time we got together, but I think it's important to bring this up yet again. As McVay says, Stafford will miss a second week of practice, as this was not the original plan he mentioned to us earlier in the beginning of this phase, block one of training camp. And, well, where's my evidence of that? Well, let's pull it up. How about good old Stu Jackson from the Rams, who does great articles and writing for the team? This is a tweet he had when McVay originally said, Stafford will be back Monday. So here we go. Per Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford spent the first training camp practice working with the training staff, the medical staff, to get him feeling good, which was according to plan. McVay said, while Stafford could be out at practice during this phase one, it's most beneficial to get him to feel as good as he can before he will return to practice on Monday. Again, this is what McVay originally said in the beginning of phase one. Now we fast forward a couple of days later, and the tune is different. As the end of phase one says, per McVay, Matthew Stafford, with his back soreness, will not return to practice on Monday as originally expected. McVay said, team will take it a week at a time now with Stafford, but Stafford did not experience a setback. McVay said he spoke out of turn, putting a schedule on Stafford's return. The goal is still to have him back, obviously, for week one against Houston. But look at Mark, I was extremely, pessimistic about that news originally because, and I'll mention it again, I'll be short about it, Rams Nation. McVay has a history of lying to the public about the status of players' health and injury. Again, I get it. It's a tactical advantage. Why? We're not going to reveal everyone, hey, he's beat up. He ain't feeling great, but he's out here. Or, hey, this is serious. Or what? I get all that. But there's a long history where we get told one thing, and then a couple of days later, it's significantly worse than it was originally said or thought of, right? Ernest Jones last year, his knee is fine. This is all part of the plan. Everything's good. He returns to practice. They trade him not that long later. Oh, Kyron Williams' ankle is completely problem. He just tweaked it on a run. He went on injured reserve and missed 4 games. Oh, Cooper Kupp's hamstring, we're just giving him rest, all that. They fly him out to see a specialist, and Cooper Kupp's like, I don't know what's wrong with my hamstring. We can go on and on and on and on. Todd Gurley, no problem with the knee. Absolutely nothing in that 2019 season. McVay kept saying, cut him that later that year. I mean, so again, just giving some examples of why I don't take these comments as a positive thing. I got to see it before I believe it. And like Sean McVay likes to say, I see better than I hear. You've probably heard that comment from Sean a bunch, right? Hey, Sean, I see better, right? Let me see the progress more than what I'm hearing from you. So is it the end of the world? Of course not. The goal is to have him ready for week 1. Of course, Rams Nation. But this goes back to my original point of how you shouldn't feel like there's no issue at all. If he's going to miss another full week of practice, I don't know, Mark.
Yeah, a few things. One, I want to mention that, I got a little pushback talking about Stafford in the back too much on the YouTube channel, but hey, we're going to continue talking about this because it's a pretty big deal. And what troubled me with that statement is that last sentence, we'll have him back for week 1. I wish they had worded it that he will be good to go week 1. We're going to get him back well before week 1, hopefully. This is a team that Sean McVay has said he's going to diversify the offense, going to mix in some new 12 personnel. We've talked about 21 personnel, using wide receivers in different ways, different types of wide receivers in this offense. And then, you don't have your starting quarterback for 2 weeks or longer. So that's not good. I don't want to, I'm not trying to pull the fire alarm here. That's Matthew Stafford is a very experienced and talented guy, and he'll be good to go in week 1, I'm sure, but it's still less than ideal. Let's just face it.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real, Rams Nation. Remember speaking of another example, remember in the 2022 campaign when Matthew Stafford was resting his elbow? Oh, just some stuff. We want to make sure his arm's feeling good. He's got a little tightness. Actually, he had a serious issue where he was getting injections into his throwing arm, and they hid that from us until after. And Stafford and others came out saying, yeah, that was pretty serious. But of course, again, the tactical reasoning of not revealing that to the public for, fan purposes, opponent purposes, media purposes of not trying to make it a bigger deal than what it actually is, right? So that's another example with Stafford. They hid that from us for a full year, and Stafford and all of them admitted, man, missing majority of those training camp was very, very negative and very, harmful to the progress they could have made with then wide receiver Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, and other guys. As you remember from that Buffalo game onward, it was Stafford was just force feeding Cooper Kupp because he had no chemistry with other guys. So hopefully that will not be the case. Obviously, he's thrown with Devontae Adams and he's familiar with Tutu. But, hey, Higbee hasn't played a lot with Stafford, to be honest about it. Terrence Ferguson, that'd be nice if he was catching passes from Matthew Stafford and getting used to some no looks and all that other stuff. I'm sure Devontae would love to see him. I'm sure he's tired of having to play with Jimmy Garoppolo from his days of the Raiders, as he was calling Jimmy, a dude that was trying to get him killed. If anyone wants that Netflix wide receiver season when he was with the Raiders. So I'm sure, Devontae is probably having a moment of anxiety of like, gosh dang it, I'm tired of Garoppolo. Give me Stafford, please. But again, something to monitor. I'm not trying to be too overly negative, but this is just the reality. You may call me out on it, and that's fine. But from nope, he'll be back Monday to now, we're taking it week by week. He's missing 2 weeks of practice. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But again, if he's ready to go week 1 and he plays well, who cares about any of this, right? And that's just the reality, right, Mark?
Yeah, agreed. Week 1, just got to go get a W. No more slow starts. And and I know Jimmy G is not a fan favorite for a variety of reasons, but I kind of like our quarterback room. You can do a lot worse. I mean, there's not too many number 2 quarterbacks like Jimmy G out there. So that, he's won a lot of football games. And I don't even want to be talking about that actually, because hopefully he doesn't see the field. But he is a decent quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, let's get right into it because, well, who else is getting the first team reps? Well, it is Jimmy Garoppolo, everyone. As Jimmy G running the first team offense is a work in progress, as people have reported that, yes, Garoppolo has had some good passes, right? He's had some bombs to Devontae. He's hit Puka Nacua a ton on those deep in dig routes. He's gotten connections with a tight end, and he's distributed the football well. As Jimmy Garoppolo is more of a point guard quarterback, in my opinion, based on his film, if that makes sense, everyone, where he's not this gunslinger. Let's throw in or let's throw some laser beams across the field, or let's throw a pass in between defenders. No look. Again, Stafford is a Hall of Fame level quarterback. Obviously that's special. But Garoppolo's more of a distributor. Think of his Week 18 performance against the Seahawks, where it was more, all right, man, could I hold the ball and try to get something more? Nope. Boom, he's open right away. Let's hit him. Boom, he's open right away. Let's hit him. And I thought he played well overall, other than a couple bad passes and stuff. But, hey, Garoppolo is going to get another week of practice. We'll see how that goes with the full pads and et cetera, et cetera. But, hey, a work in progress. But nothing too overly negative from camp in this phase one so far, Mark. And that's a good sign, because if he does have to play a game, my God, we cannot get end of 49ers Jimmy Garoppolo. We cannot get Las Vegas Raiders Jimmy Garoppolo. We're in serious trouble. But so far, not so bad, according to news and notes from camp, Mark, about Jimmy G.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to talk too much about this, but if you look across the NFC West and look at the backup quarterback situations, Rams aren't in too bad a shape with Jimmy G. That's all I'm going to say about that.
No, not at all. I mean, look, he is the best backup quarterback, I think, just objectively, not just because we're Rams fans, we believe that. I mean, McVay even says, hey, I believe Garoppolo's a starting level quarterback in this league. And, if we go down the list of every quarterback, I mean, he might be right. Again, we're not going to go through all 32 teams right now, but, there's some guys starting in this league. You would probably be like, yeah, I'd rather probably take Garoppolo, right? A McVay Garoppolo, maybe not a Josh McDaniels Raiders Garoppolo. Or
yeah, it's just got to be the right situation.
That being a disaster, by the way. So anyway, work in progress. We'll find out more now in this phase 2 that's coming up, where they get pads. We'll see how much better, neutral, or hopefully not worse Garoppolo will look with the first team. But a work in progress right now, and I think that's fair for this first part of training camp, Mark.
Yep, agreed. We'll be fine. Stafford will be good to go, and Jimmy will never see the field, but he is.
I hope that is 100% the case, or I will lose my mind.
It's kind of sad to say the optimistic view is Jimmy G will never set foot on the field, but after saying that, he's the best backup quarterback in the NFC. But there you have it.
There you go, and that's just how it goes sometimes. So, Rams Nation, what's some other injury stuff that's been going on as well? Well, unfortunately for our team here, cornerback Ahkello Witherspoon and inside linebacker Chris Paul Jr. have not been practicing, as they are both dealing with a calf injury, which is unfortunate, honestly, as Ahkello, this is one of the first times in quite some time he's been a part of a training camp this early in the season, where the last couple of years, as he has been a Ram, he has not participated heavily in training camp, for the most part. In past years, yes. And in other years, no OTAs, no nothing. But, it's unfortunate. He just hasn't got a full year of work leading into a season in quite some time now that he's missing practice. But again, Sean McVay did say he is day to day. We'll find out if that's actually the truth or not if he gets out there, right? I see better than I hear, Sean. So we'll see with him. And then they also said about, rookie linebacker Chris Paul Jr., that they're just being smart with him with his calf injury. He did not say that was a day-to-day recovery plan with him, so I assume it's a little bit more severe with him. But that's unfortunate for Chris Paul Jr., though, Mark, as inside linebacker coaches talked very highly of him during rookie minicamp and OTA, saying, man, just wait till he gets the pads on. Wait till he gets the pads on. We'll really see what type of guy he is, and we're excited about it. Well, we're probably not going to see that for a little while longer. And for a rookie who everyone is excited about to see, right? He was first team all this, first team all that for the SEC in college. Had some really good tape. There were some flaws in his game that I saw, but there's stuff that I really did enjoy. And people are like, yeah, he should be a starter. Well, he's not going to get that opportunity right now, and that's unfortunate for him. But, two guys, Mark, that, I was hoping to see a lot of and see how they looked. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer, and hopefully they heal up.
Yeah, it's hard for me to relate. I have never had a calf injury in my entire life. I don't even know how a calf injury manifests itself. I can only guess. But the soft tissue injury of some sort, apparently. But Witherspoon, you look on the bright side. Maybe we'll talk about another cornerback that's maybe getting some extra playing time and benefiting from that. And Chris Paul's probably not going to break into the starting lineup, if at all, until midseason, I would guess, anyways. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think he's probably going to be a big special teams guy. So hopefully they both bounce back pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I hope so as well. And hey, day to day for Akello, no real update on Chris Poopall Jr., but we do hope we see those guys at least by joint practice time against the Chargers, against the Dallas Cowboys, so they can get some, semi-real action, game action, which is the most valuable in this preseason training camp lead up to the week 1 2025 campaign. So hope those guys recover. And unfortunate, though, I don't want to see what Chris Paul Jr. was about with pads, but we'll have to wait on
absolutely.
that for sure.
Yeah.
We will have to wait, Rams Nation. But because Akello Witherspoon is not, out there with the starting unit, who else is getting some reps? Well, I'm sure you probably all guessed it. Cornerback Emmanuel Forbes Jr. getting first-team reps on defense, playing outside corner there. Because no Akello, there is opportunity. And the Rams do like to rotate in guys. As last season, you saw Akello and Darius Williams and Kobe Durant all play a significant amount. They like to keep bodies fresh. That's just the mentality of this Shula, Sean McVay defense. And so who's going to be that third corner? Well, Emmanuel Forbes is getting his opportunity, as Sean McVay said, and Kevin Demoff have both said on multiple appearances, ESPN LA, team interviews, that, hey, we had a program for Emmanuel Forbes Jr. We need to get it. We wanted to get his playing weight up significantly. They said he's done that. He's playing at an acceptable weight, Sean McVay said, as we all knew he was skinny as hell when he first got here, when we claimed him off waivers. And we were like, is that realistic for an NFL football player to be that thin? But apparently he's bulked up at a great weight that everyone is comfortable at. The team is comfortable at. And he's out there making plays, Mark. He's, gone up against Devontae, made some plays. He's gotten beat by Devontae. I mean, most people do. But he's out there getting his hands on the football, breaking passes up. And that's a good sign for somebody who got given up on, right? A former first-round pick, or one team, not even a full 3 years into his rookie contract with a 5th-year option, they bailed on him. So I think that's good news. And, we put a waiver request in. We are paying a first-round salary to him because we picked him up off waivers. So it's not like he's coming, dirt cheap, like 7th-round pick money. So it's good to see that, hey, he'll have a shot to get some playing time with Akello out, and we'll see what he's made of. And so far, so good in phase 1, Mark.
Yeah, and coming out in the draft, he was listed at 166, and he looked like he was 166 last week. That first, when he first showed up with the Rams, they listed him at 180 now. So apparently he's put on 14 pounds. I'd be interested to see if he looks like he weighs 180. Anybody watching the training camp sessions. But, suddenly, our cornerback room, we've talked about this. We may not have an elite cornerback, but if Emmanuel Forbes is, as good as he appears to be, and throw in Kobe Durant, who's playing really well, suddenly the Rams have 4 decent cornerbacks, right? It's not a bad group at all.
Yeah, not a bad group at all. And I think that's important that we talk about Kobe Durant immediately right now, Mark, as you bring it up, as Kobe Durant and Jordan Whittington are both guys through the entire phase 1, block 1 of training camp have been making plays every day of practice. As here's a fun little picture of both those guys, getting, Kobe Durant smiling, trying to punch out the ball for Jay Witt, and Jordan Whittington running the ball well, like he does yards after catch. So both guys, and we'll start with Kobe Durant, to your point there, Mark, about a starting corner. I mean, he's another guy who has been getting his hands on the football consistently through this phase 1. And again, if Akello cannot go, or he has to miss game action for whatever reason, not just week 1, but anytime during the long stretch, I feel good about Kobe being out there playing outside corner. And again, I know tons of people want him to play slot because of his size and his quickness, or play the star position, the nickel corner, whatever name you want to call it. He is better on the outside. The film doesn't lie. His own words of saying, I'm more comfortable on the outside, as he said in years past. A lot of people don't want to play that star nickel. Even Quinn Lake doesn't, but he's good at it. And again, if he has to play that outside corner opposite of Darius or even opposite of Okello, I mean, I feel good about that. And that's a good feeling, knowing that your, I guess, pseudo third corner is a starting level guy that can play some good football, as we saw last year and the playoff tournament. He was playing well.
Yeah, it's a well-rounded group. It really is, and we'll see who the fifth cornerback might be, and how. Going off track here a little bit, but that's the biggest question mark for me is what defensive backs end up on this 53-man roster. But the top, the top end, the top 7-8 guys, pretty solid.
Yeah, and Kevin Demoff has said many times that they feel good about this group, and Sean McVay has said the same. And Kevin kept it a little more objective about it. He's like, hey, we're going to give the Charles Woods of the world and others opportunity in preseason to show what they got. They've been with us for a year plus now, and we feel good about the top guys, right? The 4 that we've mentioned already. And we're going to see a lot of action of the young bucks, and we're going to find out if they are, respectable, worthy football players to make the team and contribute in some shape or fashion if they have to get out there and play some starting defense in a pinch, or it's a break glass scenario where everyone's down and they got to play. Like, can they handle themselves? And we're going to find out, but I feel good about it so far, Mark. I do.
Yeah, AJ Green, a bigger cornerback, and you got Josh Wallace, and you mentioned Charles Woods. There's some guys that they did get some playing time last year, so they just need more playing time. We need to see more of them, and one of those guys is probably going to make this roster, I think.
Yeah, for sure. We got to carry 5 corners at least, probably 6, special teams and how many guys rotate in different positions. So we'll see. We'll find out. But again, Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes Jr., making tons of plays on the football thus far in phase 1. I think that's a good sign, and you should feel good about that, Rams Nation. And now on the opposite side of who's been balling out during phase 1, Jordan Whittington. As many people have been impressed with him who have been watching him during this phase 1 of training camp, as every day he's been making a big catch, a good block, a touchdown, whether that's been with the starting offense, the second team offense, no matter where he's been in terms of starters, non-starters, he's been making plays, Mark, and that's a good sign. I mean, I've really enjoyed the trajectory that Jay Wood has been on. We were excited about him when we saw him in the preseason, and right away you can tell guys are like, okay, he's making the team immediately, and if he had to play, we feel good about it. And Jay Wood was one of those guys last year during this time in preseason and beyond, and when he got some action in the regular season, I was comfortable with him playing, and I thought he needed the ball more, truthfully. But it's good to hear that, speaking of depth, let's say Puka goes down again, or Devontae, he's a veteran, he has to miss time because of something, or Tutu gets banged up. We should all feel fantastic of Jordan Whittington going in there and getting reps. There should be no super drop-off, and realistically, production offense shouldn't drop off as you can get him the ball in other creative ways. And it's good to hear that he looks better and better from when we saw him last year this time to now. I think that's good, Mark.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
My name is Happy Gilmore. I haven't swung a club in years.
You know what you gotta do. Grip it and rip it.
Now that is some Happy Gilmore.
Everyone is talking about the comeback kid, Happy Gilmore.
Happy knee.
Yeah, baby!
Happy Gilmore 2, only on Netflix July 25th. Rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13.
After Zoomies at the dog park, it's time for Drive Up at Target. In goes a big bag of kibble and one squeaky chicken toy for the good boy. Drive Up that's ready when you are, only in the Target app. Just tap Target.
Not all meals are created equal. For instance, breakfast has the spicy egg McMuffin for a limited time, and lunch doesn't. McDonald's breakfast comes first. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah, and remember, this is a guy that was Steve Sarkisian's favorite player ever, apparently.
Crazy.
And what I want to see, though, what I'm really hoping for is, I mean, we love Puka and we love Devontae. Obviously, the Rams, they're probably going to go 11 personnel a lot. I want them to rotate these guys in and give Puka and Devontae some breathers. Don't wear them down early in the year. Get Tutu and Jordan out there. Get Tutu and Jordan out there together.
Yeah.
And maybe even Mumfield. And if we go to 21 personnel, we're down to 2 wide receivers. I don't know if that's going to happen, but and we go to 12 personnel, right? It's going to reduce the snaps from one of these wide receivers. But I'm still hoping that Tutu and Jordan, their snap counts go up rather than staying steady like it was last year, because I think they both have a lot to offer for this offense. So it'd be interesting to see who ends up, what the pecking order is between Whittington and Tutu even. We'll have to see.
It's true. I mean, some people are like, hey, Whittington will probably push for a starting spot, which, I mean, hey, may the best man win. Obviously, Tutu got paid $10 million, so there's a lot of money incentives for him to see the field finally, which we all agree that he should see the field more. He is productive when he gets thrown to and is out there. But we will see a lot of Jordan Whittington, Mark, Rams Nation. We rotate in receivers. We're a very wide receiver heavy offense. So obviously 11 personnel, right? 1 running back, 3 wide receivers, 90+% of the time. So he is going to play significantly. Now, would it be heavy snaps? Probably not, but let's see if he earns it. I have no problem, Jordan Whittington playing a bunch for us as good run blocker, very good, pseudo fullback in the run game, right? Lead blocking, linebacker. And D tackles and D ends, which is miraculous. Rams keep finding guys that could do that. And then, hey, get him the ball in his hand, screen, kick return, jet sweep, a reverse. I mean, he needs to get the ball in his hands, and he's good. I mean, he didn't break all of Eric Dickerson's, Texas State records for high school for no reason. The dude is electric and can get open in the field and run around guys and run through guys. So regardless of whatever his pecking order is, he needs to touch the football. And I think if he does on a consistent basis for us during the regular season and beyond, I mean, I think good things will happen. So good to hear that Jordan Whittington is doing well, Mark, for phase 1.
Yeah, and I would be okay with him taking 10 snaps away a game from Puka. Puka he gets beat up, such a physical style of play that and Whittington is very similar. So, give Puka some breaks, get Whittington out there for 10 extra snaps or so.
Yeah, I'm on board with that for sure. And speaking of wide receivers too, though, Rams Nation, I know Mark brought up Konate Mumfield. Apologies on his first name pronunciation. I'm still getting that wrong. Give me some time, Rams Nation. But Mumfield, he's been working with the second team, but he's been making tons of plays, and he's trying to earn a roster spot. He is a 7th-round pick, Rams Nation. Nothing is guaranteed for those guys. Literally, I mean, I even think from rounds 5, 6, and 7. I mean, rounds 4 and up, higher draft capital, more money guaranteed, more expectation, right? But 5, 6, 7, I mean, if you make the team, great. If you don't, we took a shot on him. We took a flyer on him. Oh, well. But, hey, according to all reports and news out there, I mean, Mumfield has been catching every pass thrown his way, been making sideline catches, critical, third down situation catches. He's been getting open as he is someone that reporters and people looking in at practice, not even just in this phase 1, but even previous OTAs and all that, like, hey, Mumfield's impressing the coaching staff as somebody that, is looking to make this roster and not only just be an inactive guy, like, oh, you made the roster, but you're never going to suit up. Like, you'll be somebody that will suit up and, hey, will be a part of that rotation of 4 or 5 wide receivers deep if they have to play. If you remember, Rams Nation, last year we played like 6-7 guys at wide receiver, it feels like. All right, Nakua, Kupp, Tutu, Jay Witt, Demarcus Robinson, Xavier Smith. Who am I blanking on too? My goodness, Mark, apologies, and everyone out there. Tyler Johnson. Tyler Johnson. Right, that was 7 guys that all played. And a lot of them made some big-time plays and catches for us in big games last year. So, hey, he's going to have a shot to do that, Mark. And, hey, just working with the second team, he's doing well. And that's good to hear from a 7th-round rookie in this phase 1 period of training camp thus far.
Yeah, I think he's locked up a roster spot. Maybe it's a little early to say that, but by all accounts, he is a real deal and a guy that's in the future at some point going to contribute. Now, if he's active on game day, may depend on if he can contribute on special teams, and I do not know if that's the case with Mumpfield. But yeah, I think he's our number 6 wide receiver for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or is it 5? Whatever it
number
is.
5 right now, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Xavier Smith. I mean, I like him. He's got some speed and he's got return ability for the punt stuff. So, hey, he's probably going to make this roster if he continues doing well. And we will see tons of him in the preseason, I assume, which would be cool. We'll see if he's legit or not. And we'll find out pretty soon as guys that are legit, pop off the screen for Rams preseason games. As we have a different flow of things compared to other teams. But good on Mumpfield. I'm glad that he's doing well. And for a 7th-round rookie, nothing's guaranteed, but he seems like he's pushing to guarantee himself some guaranteed money in a roster spot. Good on him for that in phase 1 thus far. Speaking of offense too, Rams Nation, and we talked about this player last episode in his comments to Rich Eisen, and that would be Blake Corum, running back number 2 right now for the Rams. But Blake Corum, according to news, reports, and notes from this phase 1 of training camp, is looking more explosive in this second season that's coming up as he's been looking good and juking guys out, being very agile in the hole, meaning right when you take a handoff and right when the gap opens up. How are you looking if linebackers or D tackles in your face? Can you avoid them and get some positive yards? He's been doing that. And people said he looks even faster too compared to last year and even his time at Michigan. So good on him. That's incredibly great to hear as, again, he is somebody who I believe if he gets more opportunities, again, I'm a Kyren guy. I think Kyron's a good running back and is, Pro Bowl worthy guy. But the stats and what we saw on film last year don't lie, Rams Nation. When he got his opportunities to make a big play and a big run, juking this guy out, cutting here, cutting there, and getting a 30, 40-plus yard run, which he kind of did quite a bit for his limited carries, I think he can be a serious difference maker on the ground game. Again, I'm not saying take the ball away complete from Kyren, but Blake deserves more carries and opportunities, in my opinion. So good to hear that he's looking better and better as this phase 1 goes on. I'm expecting a lot from him if this continues, Mark.
Yeah, and it's as you look through this roster and the skill position groups, every one of them we're kind of stacked: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and Blake Corum. Yeah, I'm kind of hopeful too. I think the bottom line. Let me put it this way: don't tell anybody in your fantasy football leagues, but I'm not taking Kyren real early because. As much as I love him, as much as I love Kyren Williams and his nose for the end zone, I have a feeling Blake and Jarquez are going to get some snaps, and I could be completely wrong on that. We'll have to see, but hopefully Blake and Jarquez get some opportunities this year for sure.
Yeah, and shout out to Jarquez, as people said, when he was working the second team, he looked nice as well, and the speed was apparent. And again, I understand no pads. It's hard to say how serious the O-line is blocking, how serious the D-line is really engaging to try to stop the run and all that. Of course. But, hey, if people are visibly noticing that Blake is looking faster and stronger and more agile and, better juking moves, I mean, that's great news. And we'll see what's up with, Jarquez Hunter in the preseason. We'll see a ton of him, I assume. And when the pads come on, we'll really find out if all these are legit with these running backs. But in face value in phase 1, I'm glad to hear that Blake is looking better, and I expect, again, a lot from him if he gets his opportunity, which I think he will come through for us. But time will tell. Let's get the pads on. Let's find out if it's for real, right, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. And every time I hear about an explosive run or, especially explosive runs, there's the other side of it. We're supposed to be improving this run defense. So what do
Yeah.
you want to see? Do you want to see Blake and Jarquez ripping off 30-yard runs, or do you want to see them not? Do you want to see our defensive front? I know it's just they're not in pads, so it's not a big deal, but
Yeah.
there is that side of it as well.
There is, for sure. And again, Sean McVay and others, and we agree with it. Hey, this isn't real football yet, right? Get the pads on. Let's start thumping and hitting each other, more serious, and that will tell if guys can play or not. Of course. But hey, thus far, I'm happy to hear that Blake is running the ball well and looks better, for sure. And speaking of thumpers and someone who's known for his tackling, shout out to our new signing at inside linebacker, Nate Landman, as he is, as of right now, today, the Mike Green Dot signal caller. He is the guy receiving the calls from defensive coordinator Chris Shula via, microphone or headset, walkie-talkie to his ear in his helmet. And he's been doing a good job, everyone has said thus far, as he's been flying all over the place. He's been, at the point of attack for pretty much every run play and et cetera, et cetera. And he even had some punch outs, which he's known for with his time with the Falcons, as he was somebody who was able to always do a Peanut Tillman punch. Shout out to Charles Tillman from Chicago Bears, as he was famous for always literally punching the ball out from ball carriers, as Landman had, as a reputation for doing that as well. And he's already showing that thus far in phase one. So, hey, totally fine with him thus far. Not a shot at Troy Reeder. I'd rather see Nate out there. I thought he had some nice moments in the run game, which I think is a strong suit, and that is what he is there for, right? We got to improve that run defense. So totally comfortable with him being the Mike, Green Dot signal caller at this point. And yes, do we like Omar Speights to maybe overtake that one day soon? Sure. Is he ready for that? Probably not. And that's totally okay. But he is part of that starting defense as well, still, Omar, with Nate out there. But hey, without pads thus far, Nate Landman looking the part, doing good, has great command with both the front end of the defense, right? D linemen, linebackers, and everyone says he's doing a good job communicating to the back end, corners and secondaries thus far in training camp during phase one. Good sign, Mark, Rams Nation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what he was brought in for, right? He was brought in to tackle Barkley, basically, and guys like that, and to plug those holes. Man, that was really bad last year at times. And if you think about it, our linebacker core, there's been some really big question marks ever since we traded Ernest Jones. And
Yeah.
I'm feeling a lot better about it now. Landman and Pooh Paul, we'll have to see, but we have to be hopeful about him. And then I'm hearing good things about Sean Dolak as well, who I think has a real shot at making this roster. I think is similar to Landman, if I'm not mistaken. So I hate to say it, but I don't know how Troy Reeder fits in anymore at this point if all this holds up. But feeling overall,
Well, you say that, but then he'll be on the 53, and
I
I kid, but we've all been we've all thought otherwise in many years, but he's still hanging around. And shout out to Troy. We're not trying to talk crap. He had moments with us.
and to be clear, I don't know if you've noticed, but I really hesitate to throw shade on any Ram. I just have a real difficult time doing that. So that's all I'm going to say about Troy Reeder.
Fair. And again, for Landman, for Omar, for Troy, hopefully when we get Chris Paul Jr. back and, Dolak and everyone else, we'll find out when the pads come on if they can play some inside linebacker and perform.
Right.
But again, thus far in phase one with no pads, Landman looks the part, doing a good job being the Mike signal caller, green dot guy for our starting defense. And that's a good sign. If it was the other way, are people like, hey, it's still work in progress, so be it. But it's always good to hear good things more than neutral or negative, right? So, hey, we shall see, Rams Nation. But, man, you know what I like to talk about too, Mark? And, I bring this up quite often, but, it's always fun. And shout out to everyone who enjoys this type of topics as well. Uniforms. uniforms. As the Rams rivalry uniforms teasers were released, but many people were digging deep, even me as well. I didn't think to do this. Not that I was, curious about it. I always thought that this uniform was going to be a black uniform. The teaser looked black to me when they were showing, the teaser of everything going into midnight. They were saying, I was like, okay, well, that looks pretty dark to me. I don't see any blue in that, which so be it. But shout out to all you out there who did some investigative work, Rams Nation. And many of you, shout out to everyone I was having conversations with on X Twitter, and we were all, adding each other with opinions and replies and graphics and whatnot. But many of you were smart and said, you know what? Hey, the inside of that Rams logo, does that look blue to anybody else? And to my vision, I was like, no, that looks black to me. I don't see a difference. But many of you, shout out to your eyesight, it's better than mine, clearly. Many of you have done it, I saw. Cranked up the saturation, cranked up the brightness, cranked up this, cranked up that, Photoshop this, Photoshop that to mess with saturation and colors and stuff. And many of you figured out and showed evidence that inside this Rivalry's uniform logo, alternate logo, that yes, the inside of that is not black, it is navy. Now, this picture of you here on YouTube with us is edited, meaning that the saturation and brightness and other settings were boosted just to see the contrast. Like, hey, is that actually black or is that just a super dark shade of blue, navy, right? And it is based on this photo here. And many people, different people, did it in their own way. And it's like, yep, this is blue inside. So with that said, I am feeling so much better that this uniform is likely going to be some version of blue instead of black, Mark. Why? Black, it's starting to get played out now, right? Washington has an alternate black uniform. Steelers are black. Gosh, so many teams. Raiders have black in the Stars game. Bengals have black. Cardinals have an alternate black uniform. We can go down and down the list of people I just can't think of. Colts have an alternate black uniform for whatever reason. And there's so many others that I'm sure will continue to pop up. So for us, when we have nice colors, right? Royal blue, darker yellow. Now this more modern, brighter yellow we use. Navy is a part of our history, both in the Fearsome Foursome days and the St. Louis days, right? Darker blue from the 50s when they were wearing, blue and all yellow or yellow jerseys primarily. That was a darker shade of blue as well. So I am happy to hear that this dark ass version of blue is going to be the primary color for the jerseys. Now, could they come out August 28th or whatever date it is and it still be black? Probably. That would be disappointing, but shout out to all your guys' detective work on this logo and whatnot. We're going to get some version of, I guess, a midnight blue, as in the Rams trailers and promotion, the videos they released within the last, handful of days, that it was like, hey, midnight this, midnight that, midnight that. And I guess we're going to get midnight blue. People are saying it is a version of navy blue that's pretty dang dark, almost black if you didn't know any better. But I feel good about that, Mark. I mean, your thoughts on this being a possible navy blue uniform that we're going to get? I like that better than black.
Yeah, as you know, I'm not a really big uniform guy, but I find that really striking. I like it a lot. I need to see the helmet. I'm really anxious to see the helmet, make sure maybe it won't be a big surprise. Maybe it'll just be the same colors we're seeing here.
Well, Mark, I mean, everyone is getting a new helmet. Like, that was announced with the rivalries. Like, that is happening. So are they going to, I mean, is it going to be a navy helmet? Cool. Are they going to do the inverted yellow helmet with navy horns? They're going to go pretty wild on that. I wonder what it'll be. I'm interested to see. So, well, I mean, I didn't mean to interject on you there, but a new helmet is coming of some sorts.
Yeah, and that's August 28th. We'll find out, and then they're going to wear them at the home game against the Seahawks, as I read it. So it's exciting. I hopefully they get it right, but what I'm seeing on the screen here right now is pretty striking. I like it a lot.
Again, this photo, if everyone out there, is edited heavily to make that inside blue be more apparent. If you go on Rams accounts and all, it looks pretty black to me. That's why I'm like, shout out to you guys for figuring that out. So, I like uniform little mock-ups and stuff like that. So I was like, what would a dark navy look like with our current version? So if you're on YouTube here, you can check this out. And this one here is a little mock-up of like, what would a dark navy, almost black uniform look like? As you can see here, shout out to this photo of Jalen Ramsey. I assume it will be all midnight navy or whatever the color officially will be. And if it's like this, again, there'll probably be some gradient and the yellow won't be so dark. But if it's something similar to this shade of dark blue, Mark, I'll be happy with that more than black.
And then you threw in some white there on the white stripe.
Yeah, I don't like the gradient pant stripe. I'd rather it mimic our yellow pants where it's like, blue stripe and a white stripe, no gradient, no merging into each other. So I kind of did that with this one. That won't be the case probably with the real uniform, but If it's this shade of blue, I'm in.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. No complaints.
So
here.
yeah, Rams Nation uniform talk, always fun. But hey, shout out to all you investigative Rams fans. I guess we're getting midnight blue. Yep, no complaints unless we get something whack, and then I will complain. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, unless they're just messing.
Sorry. Yeah, we can get it all white for all we know, which I don't think that's happening, but you never know. You never know, Rams Nation. So again, are the Rams rivalry uniforms navy? I guess we'll find out in a month or so. All right. Now, some other fun news, and again, this isn't impactful to our 2025 season, but there's enough traction with notable people throughout the NFL universe, and this makes me chuckle because everyone's so sure that this scenario is impossible to happen, but I don't know, Mark. I don't know. And what am I talking about, Rams Nation? Arch Manning to the Rams rumors just keeps on growing, as you have Todd McShay talking about it on Twitter X, saying it's the worst known secret in the NFL that GM Les Snead and the Rams staff have an eye on Arch Manning. Les Snead's son is apparently really good to borderline best friends with Arch Manning. And McShay points out the 2 first-round picks, the Manning family having a history of, making sure their lineage doesn't go to some crappy team or some team they don't think will have long-term success for whatever reason, ownership, coaches, etc. And then Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, who is equally as credible with reporting, had an insider report of talk to the Rams staff, and they view him as Josh Allen-esque, that the ceiling of him could be Josh Allen. And Robinson quoted that, hey, I talked to people from inside the Rams building. Now, is that Les Snead? Is that Kevin? Is that Sean? Probably not. But if that wasn't a growing feeling in the building, and that wasn't just one guy's personal feelings about Arch, I don't think that would be shared. I don't think Robinson, with his credibility, would share that if it's just one person says, hey, I like Arch. So, hey, let's see what happens, Mark. But that was something that kind of percolated through the football universe, and everyone was kind of chiming in, obviously Rams fans too, as shout out to this jersey swaps edit that I also slightly edited as well. Arch in a Rams uniform, darker yellow, darker blue, no gradient numbers. Looks a little bit better in my opinion. But hey, your thoughts on notable reporters, notable draft guys being hey, this Rams getting Arch in the future is pretty dang serious and real, even though, yes, we still got to play a season, everyone. But damn, Mark, it was a fun thing to think about not that long ago. And now people with credibility are hey, this is possible.
Yeah. A lot of things have to fall into place. And what Ian's alluding to, for those of you that are unaware, most of you probably are fully aware that, Peyton Manning ended up on the Giants because of some strong arm tactics. Eli Manning, I'm sorry. Some strong arm tactics. The Chargers were going to draft him. And so I guess what could happen, and what might have to happen, is the Manning family going to the Jags or the Panthers and saying, don't bother drafting him because he's not coming. Something to that effect. But the Rams do have that capital, 2 picks, and we have to hope the Falcons flop. And then they package a couple of picks and move up. But I still see it as you can want him. It doesn't matter how bad you want him. The teams, someone else has to play. Another team's going to have to, make it work for you. Someone at the top of the draft. So, and Manning may not go top 2 or 3. There's a bunch of good quarterbacks, and we'll have to see how the college football season plays out. But there are right now, Arch Manning is not the number 1 quarterback, but I think the expectation is by the end of the year he will be.
Yeah, look, he hasn't proven Jack Tilley's squad. Let's just be honest about it.
Right.
And his minute starts, we're just being real and objective. He looked good again against lower level competition for college, apparently, or technically, where they were kicking those teams' ass from Texas. And that's why he was playing at all. So we'll see. We will see. But again, in Charles Robinson's report, the Rams view him as a Josh Allen-esque type of guy, or they're comfortable with drafting him and having him sit behind Stafford for a year doing the Alex Smith. So we shall see, everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Love to have him in LA. I think a lot of things have to line up for it to happen, though.
Yeah, a lot of things got to go right. But let's win a Super Bowl first, then we worry about future quarterbacks later, right,
Yeah,
everyone?
there you go. There you go.
I think that's fair. But hey, shout out to Charles. Shout out to Todd McShay. Keep feeding the beast. If Stafford returns and we get Arch somehow, I approve that plan. The Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, the Alex Smith, Mahomes plan works for me. But we'll see what the future holds. But hey, off season or training camp season gets a little wacky with rumors and stuff. But we shall see what goes on in Rams Nation. But man, oh man, Rams Nation. Phase 1, block 1, Sean McVay likes to call it, is complete for 2025 training camp. Yes, this Monday, the pads come on, at least shoulder pads. Everyone likes to wear shorts, primarily, other than, maybe some linemen and all that. But, the thumping, the clinks and the clanks and the booms and the collisions begin on Monday with Rams training camp. As unfortunately, yes, Matthew Stafford will be sitting out. So we'll see how everyone really looks, right? Linemen, defensive players, running backs, the run game, run defense, all that fun stuff. We'll start to find out very, very soon when, quote unquote, real football starts getting played with the pads. But hey, phase 1, not so bad thus far, right?
Yeah, going good. A lot of guys stepping up, rookies looking really good. Looks like we had a great another good draft class. No complaints, couple of minor injuries, and we'll work through it. They'll be ready to roll on opening day.
Yes, I think we will be ready to go, Rams Nation, and we'll be on top of it. We'll try to drop more videos as often as possible when we get more news throughout this whole training camp era, right? When joint practices start happening, we'll definitely get more content and more news and notes and our thoughts on what we see from there. Preseason games, post-game reactions. I mean, we got it all leading up to week 1 against Houston, and we'll just keep going. We appreciate you tuning in. So again, if you're on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. If you're on the audio or podcast only side of things, share this podcast audio with all your fellow Rams fans. Any of that helps other Rams fans see our content, and regardless of what, how you want to do it, we very much appreciate it. But man, oh man, Mark, anything else before we get out of here?
No, man, I'm good. Good episode. Love talking about our football team. And hey, we got a lot to be excited about. That's for sure.
Yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. And let's go win a damn championship, Rams Nation. But never forget, baby. Go Rams, baby.